Jolly good, I'm glad you sorted that out. Right, well, we're at Childcare Expo. We meet up every year at Childcare Expo. I'm not sure what we're going to do next year.
I
We
know.
might not be here.
I'll
Be
fly you
sad.
over to wherever I'll find myself. This is really good. Yeah.
So, I am Catherine Lyon, and this is my friend Mrs. Opashi. Now, I'm going to say Mrs. Opashi because I can't say her first name, just as I couldn't say differentiated not so long ago. So, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Really great to be here. My first name is really easy. It's Emem. Emem like M&M's, the sweets. So M&M's. Do you like M&M's?
Yeah, I do.
You see?
I do.
So think M&M's.
Okay, I'm going to keep working on this.
So
It's been
that's
an 8 year get this
It's
into
amazing.
the head, Catherine.
I know.
Well,
So-
I reckon we've known each other for about 8 years.
This is interesting.
I think so. I think
Look at
so.
that.
Anyway,
And she's been so sweet.
Mrs. Opashi, as I will call her,
Emem.
has been our Spark representative, or the boss lady Spark representative in Nigeria. Currently, Eno, who tends to do the work for us in Nigeria, is on maternity leave, which is really exciting. But Mrs. Opashi is her boss. And we're here at Childcare Expo. And this week, Mrs. Opashi has been talking about value on her, what do you call it? It's not
Yeah.
podcast, is it? Video cast.
So on my Instagram Live, we're doing this build up to a program I have starting next week, and we're having this Value with MM program. It's called the Value with MM Experience. But guess what I found here, which I just had to buy? I found this book called
My Values.
My Values. I mean, just out of nowhere with all the stands here, and it just happened to coincide with value, what we're talking about this week. So
And it's beautiful, so I had to buy a book as well. And it's on its way to Nigeria for a new baby. I wonder who that's for. But let's just talk. We keep bashing the table here in our excitement.
I know.
Let's just talk about value, because I've been listening to what you've been saying on and off during the week through my
I'm
other
really happy. Yeah,
commitments.
we see you pop in. We're really
Yeah,
happy
I
to
do
have
pop
you.
up now and again.
Uh-huh.
And I was really confused to start with about what you meant by value. And I think I was confusing it with values.
Exactly. That's exactly how I kept saying it. Values and value.
And then I was thinking, was this priorities? You know, maybe we're thinking about what our priorities are in our life. You
Yeah.
know, in different aspects, which is what you've done all week.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I just wondered whether we could just talk for a few moments about the values or the value that we put on education.
Beautiful. So
And
that's
as parents, we're both parents and we've both experienced education, the value we put on that as
Beautiful.
a parent. So what
See?
do you think?
so perfect. So you're on the right track. So when I was talking about value, that's what I was saying. I was looking at the things that you actually hold to a high importance, or you find worthy, or you know that you would invest in. So people actually invest in value. And when you don't find value in something, you're not going to understand why someone is willing to pay that much or sacrifice their life or their time. So something I value, I would want to dedicate my time or my money or whatever it is, or my investments to it. So in education, I think for us, for me growing up, we lived in a lot of countries, school in a lot of places, and we've always wanted to have that experience for the children, because I believe education for me is not only about the kind of school you go to. I think it's about the process is what education really is about. So the process of going to a new place, making friends, submitting your assignments in time, doing teamwork, having arguments with people, not making friends, then making friends again. That is real life, and that is what education is. And I would say education for me is a mindset. So we want our children to have this global mindset where they're continuously wanting to learn. They want to continue to improve themselves. So education for us is something we will and have invested. We've sold things.
Valued.
Yeah, we value it because we value it so much. We've sold things to make sure that these kids can go to good places that are a good match for them.
So it's also about passion, isn't it? Because I think I'm really passionate about what we do with our software to help with that process, so that teachers have the knowledge at their fingertips to be able to use to provide those learning experiences for children.
Fantastic. So I think I like that approach. I think passion is somewhere on that funnel. Passion, because value for me is like that ultimate where everyone has to really decide. Like some people, for example, they have their family values. So even though for us, our kids are older, but we have some values that they're not written anywhere, but some things like when you're somewhere, you're like, oh no, this does not even match with what we believe in as a family. And then again, they also know the things that we value, that someone could go, like, I mean, this is more like an addiction, but I really like, I like stationery. I am passionate about it. I probably would see like pens or markers and I want to buy them for no reason. I have so many of them. So that's not necessarily like value, even though I would probably...
Well, you value every book you buy.
Yes.
You value every pen you
yes,
buy.
Exactly. So I actually place some level of importance in them. So the different things we have in our life that are like the top scale of things that we value. Okay, you value, of course, your people in your life, family, friendships. Some people don't. Some people say things like, I'm alone, I don't need anybody in my life, you know, or they think they do. So they keep saying, I don't need anybody in my life. I'm fine on my own. And that's, they don't place much value on friendships and people, you know. So it's always important for us to also take our time to define what is important. Like for parents, like talking about your software now, if parents understand, or once you understand as a parent what the whole process of education is, you would begin to find that it's not just about the school.
Investing.
Yes. If a school says, you know what, I'm taking up my fees a little bit because I want to bring in this new software that is going to transform your child's life, then you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to the school down the road that's charging me £100 less or whatever it is. You would take out time to understand these products, and then you can get a future picture of how it's going to impact your child's life. So education is one of those things that, just like how someone can go in and buy a bag that's £25,000.
So it's also about buy-in then, isn't it? It's about
Yes.
helping parents buy into what you perceive as being valued.
Beautiful.
So that they can perceive that it's valued too.
Beautiful. I think that is now a really great way to see it, because again, if you're a school, you're running a school, don't forget that parents, because we are educators, so it makes sense to us, but regular parents don't understand half of the things we say. So when you're saying things like, yeah, it's gonna multiply the child's or whatever so achievement, they're looking at you like, I don't know what that means. All I want to know is that is my child going to be taken care of? They're going to be happy? Are they going to be, functional adults and be able to contribute to society?
Yeah.
And have a sense of belonging, make friends. No one is going to abuse them. That's all I want to think about. That's all I care about.
As a parent.
As a parent, what I'm thinking as a parent. But because I understand education, when you're telling me some things and you're bringing in new products, I'm like, oh, that's really good. It's going to help the child with their achievements, yes. But regular parents, like my husband, when he used to go for the parents' evenings, he'd come back and say, I don't know what they said. And I'm looking at him like, how don't you know what they said? They said the achievement. And he's like, I'm not an educator. So for me, it was actually very revelatory to hear him say that, because many parents are like that.
Yeah, they don't understand what you're talking to them about.
Yeah, so don't forget they're
That's
not
actually,
professionals.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So we were having a conversation with another colleague a little while ago with a cup of coffee. I don't provide coffee for this.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how parents just don't understand how important the early years particularly is to their children's future.
Yeah.
And if they understood that a little bit more, then they'd be more likely to buy into
more investment and
what you actually do. But I also think that's the same for teachers. I don't think teachers necessarily really appreciate what role parents can be providing for their children if they were really included.
And that's why the aspect of the parents as partners is not just a cliche. If people can really leverage on that and maximize it, it makes a whole world of difference. When you have supportive parents, it really eases your work. And I think one thing, COVID wasn't I don't want to say one good thing about COVID. One thing was that parents had the chance to be at home much more with their kids. And within a week, they're all like, oh my God, I appreciate the teachers so much, So they began to, if that's one thing COVID did for us, then we're grateful for that. Okay, but teachers, don't forget that parents are also people. And I think what happens is that we lump parents together and we say, ugh, all these parents are so difficult. All these parents are this, But every parent has a story about their child. Every child, is precious. Everybody's child is a superhero.
Absolutely.
You know how it is. So you don't just lump them together and say, all you parents. So communicate, listen to them. Listen to them tell you how precious and intelligent their children are, even if you don't think so, and then find a way to bring that together and understand your children better. So talk to these parents as people who are creators in this relationship.
co-educators.
Yes, they're co-educators.
Well, they're the child's first educator
Yes.
after all. From
Yeah.
the first time, as soon as they were picked up as they were born.
So that should
the
be
child is
that should be
learning.
honored. They may not have done it the way you feel it should have been done, and we really don't have that right to be nitpicking on how they raise their kids. Our role is to bring it all together as educators. Find out from the parents. Oh, I noticed that they get all grumpy in the morning or something. Is that so? The parents say, oh yeah, this is what it is. Talk to them, and then so many things that you find that are real issues, you'll find that they begin to be resolved because.
I mean, also I think, as educators, certainly in the early years, where we appreciate perhaps the children's uniqueness. Turn it on again.
Okay, so that one. Just continue with this one, yeah.
Okay.
So,
That's
okay.
fine.
Okay.
We appreciate the children's uniqueness
Yeah.
in the early years, perhaps more so than in primary and secondary school. We don't.
That's for you in the early years.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't treat children the same. We make sure that they get
Individual.
individual opportunities
Yes.
that will meet their personal needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do that for the children, but maybe we don't put so much value on the fact that parents are individual
Thank you. That makes
and
so much sense.
parents have their individual needs. And as educators, if we really believe that parents should be participating, and we should for that brain development,
Exactly.
that massive brain development
Exactly.
that happens before school. If we put more emphasis on that parents are all different and we need to be providing for their needs as individuals just as we do,
Yeah.
so we're putting value on that.
Yes. And I think, especially see for us back home, in the early years, you have a lot of families who have nannies. So when I was teaching, then I taught reception for like 3 years. Some parents, I would probably see them maybe twice in the whole year. But you have more of the nannies, come to bring them in the morning and then in the afternoon. And again, we could sit there and complain. But so what we try to do is that we would have conversation with the nannies and let them know, can you tell the mom this and this? And then when the mom is available, some parents are I remember a parent that was a very interesting case for me. So she was really busy and I'm there griping all the time and she doesn't respond to our messages. And then she finally came for one parent's evening. And before she came in, I think the child, she had, after she was away, she was doing like a master's program. So the child was at home with the second wife of the father, and they weren't really treating him well. So his grades really, he wasn't enjoying school anymore, and this was reception. But when she showed up and she came back, he started picking up. So he just told me one day, oh, my mom is back. So I didn't know she was away all that time. But when she came for the parents' evening, I actually had like a little award or a certificate for her. Because I told her, I said, well, whatever it was, you being away affected him, but when you came back, it made a big difference. And she broke down and started crying. So she feels she's a horrible mom. So she didn't even know how to reconnect with him because she felt she had really been away for so long. She wasn't sure whether the stepmom had taken care of him. But I gave her that and I said, well, we noticed the difference when he said, my mom is back. That everything now went back. Yeah. So
that actually,
yeah.
Some of you have heard me say this before, but research shows that if parents are involved, their children do much better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that she came into school and put value
Yes.
on that, the child could see the value of school.
Exactly.
And therefore help the child.
Yes.
That's really good.
And I think what you said about that value, see, for us as parents too, we have to make sure you communicate to your children that, like for us, I mean, the kids are much older, but they know, some of them, they're looking at the exchange rate, they're calculating the fees with us. But I said, it's not only about the fees. I want you to understand how much value we place on this. I said, it's not just about your grades.
Money.
Yes, it's not just about you. I said, the least you can do for us is put in the effort, work and get good grades. But I said, but for me, I want to hear about the friendships. I want to know that you're
happy.
Yeah, you're happy. I want to know that the boys, I want you to meet nice people, meet nice girls, and let us know, so I want you to treat people nicely.
About your teenage children now.
Yeah, they're grown up. Sorry, they're not in early years. Oh my God, they're grown up in university and finished their masters. Yeah, but I said, so for us, it's a whole thing. I want to know that you've also made good friends. You have made a good impression on people. You're shared about your culture also. You've come all the way. You're shared about your culture. These are all part of the things that we must be able to extend and let our children know when we're saying we value education. It's not just about, listen, I'm paying your fees and whatever. Let them also extend that and be able to give back and show that they appreciate the value and that, they understand what it is that we're doing. So I think for us, for every time we get those report cards where they're doing well or they're not struggling or they've made friends, or when they have friends and invite them for birthday parties, you may think it's a little thing, but for us yeah.
Well, that was another conversation we were having earlier with somebody.
Oh wow, let me
because I said that when we go for an interview, we get the interview through our qualification, possibly their experience, but we are selected on our soft skills, you know, how we work as a team, how we communicate,
exactly.
And those things we learn in the early years, not in we do. We cope. We find ways of coping with those things that perhaps we're not so good at as adults, and they're more difficult as adults. But if children are given those opportunities, they're so much easier for them to learn and put there for the rest of their lives.
I think that makes sense. You know, so I was saying, like, I gave an example for us growing up, because my dad was a diplomat. We traveled a lot, but some people asked me that and said, "Did you study languages?" I said, "No, we just lived in a lot of countries." So by the time I was like 8, I could speak French and Spanish, of course, fluently. I wasn't going to like a college to learn them. I just happened to be living in places where they could speak them. I actually won the Spanish. Yeah, I won the best Spanish student award when I was in primary school. You know, but so these are things that if you're exposed to children to, they're able to pick these habits. Many of the little jobs. So we have the National Youth Service you do when you finish university. I got a job. I was working as a translator in the Shippers Council. I did not study French, but I happened to speak French. So I found that the soft skills in general for me are what open more doors. People are looking like, fine, you have a master's here, that's fine, but you can do so many other things. So
that's the characteristics of effective learning in early years, which I think are more important than anything else.
I think they're more important than anything else, because people also need to be able to express their learning. You know, it's not just about having, hey, my child was not first in whatever it was, but how do you use that in real life? How do you express that? You know, when you go out with your kids and they're able to talk to adults, you know, like, you know, that they see people like, you know, you take your kids shopping and then they're able to, I mean, not again the older ones, your young kids. Imagine you go to the counter, like I took my nephew and niece then, I said I gave them money. I gave them $5 each, and I said, okay, you guys are going to do the talk to the people in front, and they did. So, you know, it was even my sister was just laughing because it was so interesting, and they were like, so how much is this, you know? And they were talking to the person. So those skills, talking to adults, is something some adults still can't do it. They don't have those social skills to even face people in real life, to even ask and
I
say.
reflect on my children who are in their 30s now. I'm really proud that they're so independent. And although that's really sad because I don't see them very often and they don't need me very much.
Of course they don't.
I actually am really proud that they don't, because I feel that they've learned those skills early in life.
Yeah. So, and of course, don't despair if you haven't, if your kids are older than in early years and all that. Take out time to make sure that you are finding a way to bring, you know, like teach them these things. Have conversations, you know, use those teachable moments, and just make sure. And then, of course, you can do better for your grandkids if your kids are too old already, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the grandkids.
I know.
Not on the horizon yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we'll say bye for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a great conversation. And Childcare Expo, well done.
Yeah.
You can see, I've been seeing all the stuff going on in the background, right? People walking by.
Very busy.
Yeah.
We've had a super time, haven't we?
Thank you very much, Catherine. And thanks for picking me up so early this morning.
That's all right. Bye for now.